What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for some more content for you guys. Today we're going to be focusing on our new technical director, Johan Lange, who will be officially starting work on November the 1st. Just before we do get into that, please do go and check out our brand new website, WeAreTottenhamTV.co.uk, where you get daily Tottenham related blog posts to your screens. But let's get straight into it, and let's start off with the announcement from Tottenham Hotspur yesterday. And they say that we are delighted to announce that Johan Lange has been appointed as technical director with effect from November the 1st, 2023. Lange will have responsibility for recruitment, analytics, and talent identification across our senior and academy teams. Lange held the role of global director of football development and international academies at Aston Villa from June 2023, having previously been sporting director from June 2020. Lange oversaw several high-profile player transfers, a period that saw Aston Villa moved to the top half of the table. In 2014, Lange, having previously been an assistant coach, rejoined Copenhagen as development director and then technical director the same season. Commenting on his appointment, Scott Munn, chief football officer, said that Johan has demonstrated an excellent track record of scouting and signing many talented, successful youth and senior players. He is a welcome addition as we strengthen our football operations. So this is most definitely an interesting appointment. We brought you the news I think it was a few months ago now, that Lange was at Hotspur Way. We didn't know was in June. Lange was at Hotspur Way. We didn't know the reasons for it, but I think those reasons have become very clear over the past 24 hours. So in terms of his career, he was first academy manager of Copenhagen, December 2008 to 2011. Then he was the assistant manager of Copenhagen from 2011 to 2012. Then he actually joined Wolves as assistant manager from 2012 to 2013. Then he was first team coach, the manager of Lyngby in Denmark from 13 to just for half a season really. And then he went back to Copenhagen as director of development from 2014 January to May 2014. Then he did get the upgrade to technical director from 2014 to 2020. Then he did move up to assistant manager much longer than that, after being the assistant manager to Solbakken. So he was the assistant manager of Copenhagen from 2017 September to December, so not long there. Then he did move to Aston Villa in 2020, where he has just left his role, or is just leaving his role now. So in terms of what we can learn from him as his role from Copenhagen, is there anything you can tell me about his role at Copenhagen?
Yeah, in terms of his role in Copenhagen, he has been responsible for bringing quite a lot of talent into the team. Obviously, Copenhagen right now are going quite strong, and maybe he's laid the foundations for how they've built up their structure. But he was there for quite a long time, bringing in the likes of Victor Nelson, who's currently playing very well at Galatasaray, a few Premier League players. He was able to bring through Robin Olsen, who's currently at Aston Villa, so he brought him back when he went to Aston Villa. Daniel Amate, who we know from Leicester City. One, Rasmus Højlund, who we brought through the academy, who's now at Man United. Obviously, he was at the under-19s when he was there as well. So definitely quite a bit of talent coming through at Copenhagen while he was there, and obviously they were doing quite well. There was also the likes of Andreas Cornelius, who has gone on to Atalanta as well. Thomas Delaney, he brought through, who's obviously gone on to Borussia Dortmund and played quite a lot of games for Denmark as well. Mohamed El Yanusi as well. So there's quite a lot of talent he was able, because obviously it's difficult when you're in Denmark, in Copenhagen, to bring in that kind of talent.
Do you want to mention Nicholas Bentner?
Nicholas, but maybe that one goes under the radar. We don't want to mention Nicholas Bentner. So definitely a lot of players when he was at Copenhagen, he was able to bring through where they've gone on to play in the Premier League. So pretty impressive stuff.
And obviously he got a move to Aston Villa off the back of the work that he did for Copenhagen. He joined in 2020 when Dean Smith was the manager, just recently in the Premier League. I think they were about a year in the Premier League when he joined there. His first managerial appointment was Steven Gerrard, which obviously didn't go too well. But then he did bring in Unai Emery, which has obviously been a resounding success so far. But I don't think you could have said that Steven Gerrard would have been as bad as maybe he did work out, because he did just come off the back of unbelievable work at Rangers. But I think what it shows to me is the players that he's brought in his time. So Matty Cash, Emi Martinez, Bertrand Traore, Ollie Watkins, Morgan Sanson in his first season. In his second season, you're looking at players like Emi Buendia, Leon Bailey, Luca Dean, Danny Ings, Ashley Young, Callum Chambers, Phil Coutinho, Axel Tuanzebe, Chukwuemeka, I think was already there, to be honest.
Yeah, coming through the academy though, Carly Chukwuemeka, the one who's at Chelsea at the moment. Cameron Archer as well. He was in the youth academy. He was now at Sheffield United. So definitely has a bit of pedigree of having got some good young players coming through.
And then the season after, like you mentioned, Rob Olsen, Alex Moreno, Dendonka, Duran, who seems like a really good pickup, to be honest, right now. Phil Coutinho, they signed on a permanent. Diego Carlos. And then to the present day, which was this summer, which they did make some impressive signings. Everyone was commending how well Villa did in this transfer window, signing Moussa Diaby, Pau Torres, Zaniolo, Yuri Tielemans, and say it softly, but Clement Longley.
And also, I feel like he's been a bit unlucky because he had made some good signings, which have really not worked out due to injury. Boubacar Kamara, they signed on a free transfer, who I think is having a really good season so far this season, but a lot of last season was ruled out for injury. And also Diego Carlos last season, they signed him quite early on, and I think in the first few weeks he got ruled out for the whole season. And I rate him as quite a good centre back as well. So he's been a bit unlucky with those transfers, but definitely seems to have an eye for talent as well, and not paying, apart from maybe like Philippe Coutinho, the prices they've been paying as well fairly modest for some of the talent they've been getting. Yeah,
it'd be interesting to know exact reasons why he didn't stay on at Aston Villa and what's happened there. I have heard rumours that maybe him and Unai Emery have had an altercation or a disagreement, but that's not been confirmed or anything like that, so I can't tell you that like as fact. But in terms of where he took Villa over from when he started working at Villa to now, you got to say it's a completely different club. They were just in the Premier League. The remit was probably to stay in the Premier League. And now they're a European club. They're in the Conference League. They've got Unai Emery. They're fighting for the probably the Europa League spots this year in the Premier League. So I think you got to say that all in all, he's done a fantastic job at Aston Villa.
Well, they've definitely been making incremental improvements from relegation battle to mid-table, now in Europe, and now it looks like this season they could well be challenging the top four, albeit whether they'll make it or not remains to be seen. But, you know, they got into Conference League last season, and now they're, I think, at the moment in 5th position, having a really good start to the season, and a lot of the players that he signed are making a big impact in the team. So I think they've definitely been going on an upward trajectory ever since he got involved. So I think that's testament to the work he's done at Aston Villa, and a lot of the signings he made have made a big impact as well. So definitely, obviously it can't all be down to him, but he's clearly made a big impact in the signings he's made, because if you look at the Villa side now, a lot of them is the signings that he brought through, and they're really making a big difference. In terms of the role, though, he's going to have at Tottenham, Dan Kilpatrick did write an article today about the role he's going to have, and he said, unlike Paratici, Lange will not be in charge of running the club's entire footballing operations. A responsibility has since been assumed by new chief football officer Scott Munn. The Dane will instead manage recruitment, analytics, and talent ID across Tottenham senior and academy teams. Lange will report to Munn, who led the latter stages of a lengthy recruitment process alongside Chairman Daniel Levy. So that gives an indication of the kind of role we can expect him to play. And I think that's what's needed as well, someone to identify talent for the team. And essentially he says in senior and academy teams as well. So maybe we can build on the success we're seeing in the youth level right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's been a report that Spurs are looking at taking on trial an academy goalkeeper from Norwich. I think he's at 18 or 19 years old. That could be down to the work that he's doing. I've got a quote here from Lange when he's talking about the recruitment process while he was at Copenhagen, which I thought was quite interesting. And he says, at the identification phase, our process is very data-driven. We are trying to find players who are destined for big things earlier in their career. That is difficult to predict, but it is important to try. The partnership between myself, the manager, and the scouts is crucial. We take that time at the start of the process to establish exactly what we are looking for. Then we can set the parameters with the data. It is only after that stage it becomes about live scouting. It helps that everyone knows their job and that our manager has a clear style of play. It is difficult for the scouts if the style is changing from season to season. And it seems though like now Ange Postecoglou is in place, we do have that style of football. We do have not only the style for the first team, but the style from the academy all the way up to the first team. And maybe now that he's come in, he's there to proper set that in stone with the players that come into the club.
Yeah, I think that's crucial because I think we need players that really fit how Ange wants to play, and it's crucial that there's kind of alignment throughout the whole process. And I think obviously that's what's been missing a lot from how Tottenham have been going about things over the past few years. It has Tottenham have been basically bringing through all these young players, signing them, Sarr, Udogi, and all these things, and then we've been hiring managers who aren't going to play these young players and give them a platform to show their quality, and all of a sudden we're signing older players, more established players, and there hasn't been that alignment between the manager and the recruitment team. And it's really good to hear Lange saying, that's pivotal. And I know Postecoglou, I'm sure, will be willing to work with him, and I'm sure they'll have that, Postecoglou want a certain profile playing in a certain position, especially with how we like to play in a very specific way, like inverted fullbacks and wingers very out wide, and they need specific profiles to play in those positions. So it's very exciting, and hopefully he can get the ball rolling as soon as possible.
Yeah, absolutely. And Paul O'Keefe mentioned yesterday that Fabio Paratici will be staying on as a consultancy role at the club, and I think it's actually vital to keep him on with the great work that he has done. You're looking at the team that played against Luton. 10 out of those 11 players Paratici was involved in bringing to the football club. And when you're looking at the players that we still need to shift out the door and the contacts that Fabio does have in the game, I think it can only help things as well as bringing in a Lange.
Yeah, 100%. I hope so anyway. I think time will tell whether it'll be a good situation to work together. I just hope that if what Dan Kilpatrick is saying is true in terms of what his main roles are, recruitment, analytics, talent ID, I mean, I just hope that Paratici, I don't want to say stays in his lane, but I don't want him to kind of get too involved where he interrupts what Lange is trying to do. But if they find a way where Paratici can consult to Lange and then Lange can make the final decision, I think that's probably the best way to go about it. And let's hope it becomes a healthy marriage rather than an uncomfortable one. And
it's interesting to know on the Dan Kilpatrick, I'm not sure if you mentioned it just before, but that Spurs still plan to recruit a new chief of scout to work under Lange as well. So we're starting to build this team that are really going to take us forward now in terms of recruitment.
Yeah, definitely. And everyone was saying it was a big shame that Gabbanini left because he'd been doing a great role. But I think Lange clearly must have someone in mind in his own person to bring in. So looking forward to seeing who that is.
So how are you feeling? Are you feeling positive about this step?
Definitely. Why not? There's nothing not to be positive about. It's a role that we needed to be filled. He seems to have a good track record of talent ID. So I'm looking forward to see. Look, we'll never truly know how it all plays out. It's hard to predict the future, but on the face of it, it seems like a good appointment.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll see how it all plays out, but he doesn't officially start work till November the 1st. But we've heard it all before with Scottman and all that kind of stuff. But look, Johan Lange is the new technical director. It seems those Spurs will still plan to recruit a new chief scout as well to work under him. But I think the ball is definitely in motion now for maybe the January transfer window, the next summer transfer window, and really starting to take Spurs into the new era as well under Ange Postecoglou. So let me know your thoughts on Lange in the comment section below. But thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.